Hi, how are you?
So, how are you?
I'm great. I have thoroughly enjoyed what I've seen of Encanto so far, and I cannot wait to see more. Um, for your part, how was the concept pitched to you, and then how early on in the process did you have to start preparing yourself to work on this?
Sure. Yeah. Started on this project on end of 17 and
Mm. Oh, wow.
yeah. So as soon as they were starting to make this film, it was also around the time I think right before their research trip, and afterwards I started working more on it. But yeah, it's been a long journey for sure. And I started exploring some of the characters earlier on. They knew they wanted a diverse extended family, from Colombia, and they knew they had a magical house that had a character, and they knew that they had a main character that had no gift as opposed to the rest of the family. So that was earlier on. So the main concept was always sort of set in stone. And then, then we started exploring just the characters and the world and then so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Now, how does the fact that we have such a large extended family that we're dealing with, that each have their own arcs and even like rooms in the house, affect your approach to the story as opposed to one that might be more compact and only have a few main characters?
Yeah, for the production design side of things, it was very exciting because we would do a lot of different designs and a lot of different colors and patterns and things like that, but very challenging to sort of think about visually. In Presley's presentation, I had shared sort of like a guide, with that I created early on, and that I kind of evolved as the movie was going in, because there were, changes in characters, sort of who is who, and the color or their ethnicity and all that. So it was just like sort of like it helped us track, kind of like the color, the shape, language, and everything, and it just helped to kind of organize in our brain in production design for that side. Same thing with the environments, just sort of like looking at the character and just sort of tagging a specific color to that environment, or thinking of their magical doors, which are kind of an iconic character,
Right.
illustration, with their iconography of each of the characters. So yeah, it was a lot to kind of follow, and just to track. But I think that the directors did a beautiful job with their arcs, and just for everyone to follow in love with these characters. Yeah.
Love that. I'm definitely already falling in love with the characters that I have met thus far. And I especially love, as a Latina myself, um, seeing so much diversity in the community, which is something that's often overlooked, and so many specific callbacks to Colombia that feel very real. How much of that came from the research trip, and how much required you to do your own research outside of what was presented?
I mean, we always in the art department, we always do research no matter what we do. Before we start drawing, there's always a research page. At least I share with the directors before I start, to make sure that I'm in line with their direction. And that way there's less drawings that go to waste. But yeah, early on we would do, our research. We would start designing, and then we would have the amazing, consultant group that we had, which was an amazing resource and help, that we had each week or whenever we needed, to make sure that it's in line, with whatever we were designing from the region or from Colombia. So, and from different groups, we had like architects, we had botanists, we have the cultural group, we had anthropologists. So there were a lot of like expertise, in different areas, and as well as our main consultant generalists, Juan and Natalie, which sort of oversee the whole thing to make sure that everything was in line with more modern Colombia,
Right.
so that people can relate relate, our modern audiences can relate.
Oh, that's so fascinating. There's so many moving pieces. It must be
Yeah.
so much fun to work on. I know you previously worked on Zootopia. What was your collaboration like with those directors, especially now you've got Jared and Byron that you can work with?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because on Zootopia was just additional visual development, which is like 3 weeks of help. Not a lot doing fonts really. So this was the first time getting to know the directors and getting to collaborate with them since day one, until the end. So it was a pleasure to have being able to know them, and just like to know what they like and just trying to figure out that, because that's kind of what we do. We always do designs and we try to sell it to the directors, so to make sure that it's in line with their vision. So it's like so it was an amazing experience. They're just so fun and such a fun group of directors. So
I believe this is your first time as a production designer or associate production designer, right? Mm-hmm. What did you most take away from the experience, or what prepared you most to be part of that experience?
Yeah, I was lucky to partner with Ian Gooding, the production designer. He was my mentor on when I started at Disney on Princess and the Frog. Oh. So it was amazing to be able to work alongside him and just have sort of, in case I didn't know something, to be able to ask him and be guided, because there were a lot of things downstream departments where it was very new, pipeline wise. And so just being able to, I learned so much on each of the different departments and just being able to communicate, with them through visuals, through references, through everything. So yeah, just being able to do that. And the communication is a big part on this job. So yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, like you said, and it was challenging, but at the same time very fulfilling, because we have a beautiful looking film.
Oh yes, definitely. Now, there are so many different members of La Familia Madrigal. They each bring something different, a different flavor to the table. Do you have one that you most relate to, or whose power you would most like to have?
Well, everyone will relate to Mirabel for sure. I relate to her because she's got no power, right? But I think, like, if I would want to, I keep wanting Peppa's power, because the weather. I love sunny skies, so I would try to be happy all the time.
Oh, I love that. Finally, Lin-Manuel Miranda has like the most iconic music. I feel like you can always tell when it's his song. Is there any way that his brand or the collaboration with Jermaine Franco has inspired your work?
For sure, we would have to listen to all the songs before we do the color script. So for sure, inspired a lot of the work that we did, because we had to, in a way, we had to listen to the songs to show just the color of these songs and the design of a lot of the songs. So listening over and over and over. And one of the ones I worked on the design and color for sure was Luisa's song, for example. So yeah, listening to the music, and it was with Lynn's voice. We didn't have earlier on, we didn't have the cast yet. So a lot of the songs that we listened to for for the color for the songs were by Lynn.
Oh, that's so fun.
So it was it was amazing, because at some point I was like, I'm so used to Lynn's voice that it was very odd to listen to the new cast. But yeah, it was definitely inspiring, because that's kind of, we needed that piece to be able to do our work. So yeah, and definitely beautiful songs. So yeah.
Oh, well, wonderful. I cannot wait for the finished product. I'm so excited for this film. Thank you so much. Have a great day.